Hey everybody, it's Frank from Meet Me in the Game Room, down here at the bench one more time, and you will see before me a wonderful Colecovision. Love Colecovision. This thing has some of the best games ever, and pack-in game Donkey Kong by Nintendo. Come on now. Wow, how awesome is that? And this was such a great version of Donkey Kong. Atari's version wasn't horrible. I mean, it was Atari, give me a break. The ColecoVision was a step up, and it's great. But ColecoVisions now are pretty old, and there's a common problem that happens here. And if this happens with yours, when you turn it on, scratchy looking, barely there. Let's see. Well, I see some logo. Will the game start? Let's see, it might make it there. Such a long screen. Well, it got to the skill selection screen, and if I pick one, the game is there playing, kinda, sorta. So anyway, the problem with that is this power switch. I just recently have cleaned up two more ColecoVisions, and they both had the same problem. This one's doing the same exact thing. So today I'm going to show you how to straighten that out. A big problem commonly with ColecoVisions is the power switch. Grease in the power switch dries up over time, and it doesn't make a good connection. It really gets gross in there. You need to take it apart, clean this thing out, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So meet me over here and we'll show you how to do that. Alright. Leo,
It's time to meet me in the game room.
Alright, so here's another issue. This front, there are a couple of screws under this front panel, but nobody wants to screw up this nice logo. This decal, it's metallic in the background. It's one of those weird ones that if you screw it up and bend it, it looks like crap from then on. So, you don't have to take off this front panel to take the ColecoVision apart. I learned this recently. So, I'm going to pass it along. You have 8 screws holding the system together. 3 on the ends, 1 in the middle, and the top and the bottom, and a hair stuck to it. Let's get rid of those screws. Now that you get the screws out of this thing, the front is attached to the top. So we want to work the bottom out from around it, but all the electronics and everything is going to be inside of the bottom. So just kind of pry it up here, kind of work it apart. You'll see as it comes apart how it goes. It's really not so bad. Making it look bad, right? Yes. Yeah. Maybe this won't make it to the video. There we go. Work it past that front here where the expansion bays go. There you go. It was just the buttons that fell out because I had it upside down, right? Okay, get that out of the way for now. That is inside of a ColecoVision, minus the fur and the dust. This thing's in pretty good shape. But there's the culprit right there. So we'll get this apart the rest of the way and show you how to do that. So this one has never been apart, because see how the shielding strap here is soldered onto the board and the shielding. They do the same thing in the very front here. So now this is some old solder. Let's see if we can get this apart. Well, we'll get it apart. The thing that's a pain with desoldering things off of shielding is you have such a big area, it takes a while to heat things up to get them to melt again. It's coming. Okay, got that one. Again, it's just going to take a minute to get it hot. So what's new? Not a lot here either. Here it is. Freedom. Just like Braveheart. Here's something too. See these wires coming out right here? When people take these apart, they hardly ever take those wires, stick them back under the bottom shielding around that post. See that peg right there? Right there. You want the wires on the inside of that just so they're not hanging across. So there it is. Colecovision. Gross. This thing's gross. I'm going to dust it off. Our issue today is this switch. Big ol' honkin'. There's 6 pins and it's soldered on here. I'm going to put the camera up above. We'll see how it goes. And I hate using solder wick, but at the moment I think it's all we have. So let's see if we get some of that solder off of there this way. I hate solder wick. It takes forever. It doesn't work very good. So we've actually got these side pieces here, the housing of the switch, disconnected, and that's a good thing. Of course, there's all kinds of solder here still connected. So let's see if we get a little wiggle in any of these. Just loosen it up. Ugh. There it is. That's a lot of work to get that switch out of there, let me tell you. Okay. Ugh. How much solder do you need to hold a switch in place? Coleco. No wonder why you guys went out of business. You spent all your money on solder. Right here on either side of the switch, it's held together. These are bent over, so you kind of can lock it in your hand a little bit here, and just give a little bit of a squeeze to unbend those. Go easy, because you don't want to break things or yourself. Okay. Should work for that side. Don't lose all these little pieces. There's your switch. And there is why, there is why your Colecovision looks like crap. That is disgusting. So all you need to do is clean those contacts up. Clean up these contacts as well. One thing I like to do on these two, get a little pointer screwdriver. So you see the shape of these here, right? They're shaped like that so they give a little springy action to the switch. Again, these are 40 years old. Bend these out just a little bit. Right there. Yeah, that's plenty. That's how it looked. That's how it looks now. Tweak them just a little bit, it helps to bring a little bit of life back to that spring. I've had people tell me they've loaded this stuff up with like cotton or something. I don't know. You don't need all that. Q-tip, rubbing alcohol, clean that switch up. Clean up that old dried up grease that was on there. And look at those connections coming back, huh? Yeah. Grody. Look at that Q-tip. I'll do it with the clean side too. And that is why Colecovisions get a nasty looking picture after a while. It's all in the power switch. One side of the switch is 12 volts, one side of the switch is 5 volts. All that power running through here cooks that grease after years and years and years and turns it into that sludge that is not going to give you a good connection. It looks a lot better, doesn't it? Same thing here. The little switches pieces are just as gross, and they will clean up very easy, minus the fuzz balls. That's greatness right there. Look at this wet grossness came out of that switch. The rest of it looks okay. One thing you can do while you're in here as well, besides a little rubbing alcohol, you can get some Bright Boy on there. As it's an abrasive polish, and if there's any extra little crud stuck on there, that'll get off the extra crud. Guess I should zoom back out. 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 Okay. Just like you would a cartridge or anything else you're polishing with the Bright Boy. Give it a good old scrub. Give it a good polish. That's all you're doing in here too. Polishing these contact points. Make them nice and glossy. And good. That looks pretty good. Let's hit these real quick. Get off any of that residue from the gunk that it made and dried up on there, and there was a little bit. That looks a lot better. See, look at little gunk. And just that simple. No gunk. Okay, at this point, we can drop these back into our switch, like so. Looks good. And plop that right back down on top. Okay. Just rebend those little tabs back into place. You can kind of get a squeeze here right across. There we go. Easy, easy. Side 2. Get the other side. Straighten that tab back out. I'm gonna put that back on the board. And that's it. A lot better, right? One thing I like to do here, I've got my liquid wrench household oil. And I'll just take a Q-tip stick here. And just put a little oil on the edge of your stick, like that. And basically, those inside contacts that we cleaned, you can kind of reach in here, touch a couple of them, just a little bit of the oil. Give that switch a million switches, on and off, on and off. A little lube in there is a good thing. But, you know, old lube dries up and makes problems. So, that feels really good. We'll see how it does in the machine. Easy enough. Drop that switch right back into place. If you not make a mess all over your board. That's it, sitting in place. So a little bit of this fresh flux. Just want to make sure that solder came all the way through. And it did. Okay. Pretty good. Clean up your mess because it's gross to leave it. Alright, there is the switch back in place. Seems to work pretty good. Set your motherboard back through the little slot here. Expansion slot. Yeah, easier said than done. Okay. Back like that. Do this apart because that's a little peg right there next to that PM4648D. You want to make sure you snake those wires underneath. So stick your power port back in here where it goes. Get those wires under there, around to that one and around to this one. Okay, wires are snaked under, not bound up. That is a good thing. The bottom shielding has some funky little tabs that fit into some funky little slots here on the top shielding. So, make sure you do that. And then right in here is that solder. Right in there. I don't know if I can do it and hold the camera. We'll see. heat up that glob of solder. That should do it. Cool. And one more with this big one here. Let's see what we can get it to do, because I don't know. That's attached. That's a pain in the butt, but it's there. Alright, so there is most of the job done. Alright, it's put back together, soldered together on the shielding. Don't forget your switches. Toothbrush is great, a great bench tool. It's always good to give everything a little brush before you throw things back together. Okay, so remember, these just sit here. They're not in there very big. They will go flying. Now that you have to work this top back on to this thing, keep in mind that those are in there. Look at that. Snaps back together pretty good. You might have to fiddle with the buttons a little bit. Look at that. We saved our sticker. Okay, let's throw this thing back together. Alright, it's back together. Colecovision. And we're back here. We got it hooked up to the TV. And this is what happens. Pretty cool. And it still looks a little staticky, but the cable that I'm using to hook this up to the RF isn't a very good one, and that's probably the issue there. I still have to clean these controllers. Get inside of them. They're a little crunchy. They work. Does that work? Yeah, it works. It's a little slow. One more try here. Love Donkey Kong. And this really is a good version of it. Anyway, that's Colecovision fixed. This is going to happen to your Colecovision too. Regardless, that grease that's in there, it's old, it's going to dry up. So if you have a Colecovision new in box, it doesn't even matter. It's going to happen. If it sits there on the shelf and you never use it, when you finally go and hook it up and use it, it'll work. But it might be scratchy, it might look awful, it might be awful. Clean that power switch, or have somebody take it apart. Clean that power switch. Get a hold of us. Maybe we'll do it for you. Controllers. Maybe we'll do another video. Show you how to clean these controllers up the right way. But that's all for now. There's Donkey Kong once again. There's Colecovision once again. Back from the dead. Anyway, that's all for this episode. Meet me in the game room. have this thing right here in hand. Let me show you. If I can get a good shot. Gosh, you can't hardly see it now because it's covered up by this stupid strap in the tube. But these two chips right here. I'm gonna get you the numbers for them. You'll see them up around here somewhere. The numbers for those chips, because another very common problem with Colecovisions is when you turn them on, you see you skip right past that skill selection screen, and Donkey Kong will start by itself. Mario will jump, he'll go to the left, and that's it. And you can't do anything in this. So what's wrong there is your controller ports have shorted out. Those two chips short out very easy. So you want to replace those. They're pretty cheap. You can get them through Mauser or eBay. But when you do replace them, you got to cut off the legs from this side and then just desolder each one of the posts, because trying to desolder from back here, take this out, is mind-boggling. It's horrible. And plus, a lot of the solder joints are on the top side, so just do it that way and life will be easy, trust me. But these don't need replaced. So far, I believe the game will work. It seemed like it was working in there, so these aren't shorted out. But apparently, the controller ports do short out pretty easy on ColecoVision. They say to stay grounded when you're plugging in controllers and stuff like that, so hopefully that does the trick.